Hi, and welcome to Affected, a podcast from Meet. For those of you who don't know Meet, we are a global life sciences talent provider. We've been connecting the industry for over a decade, and now we want to share some of our insights and experiences with you. We'll be hosting monthly episodes, sharing thoughts from our leaders and industry professionals about job hunting and hiring in life sciences, as well as giving our network a platform to share their own experiences of building successful careers in an industry that affects us all.
Hi guys, and welcome to another special edition of the Affected podcast. This is the second one we've done in New York now, and I'm joined by Miss Affected herself. You might have heard her voice introducing the episode, and I worked out earlier that probably by the end of this year, over about 30,000 people would have heard your tones introducing the into the podcast. So you've been perceived by that many people. How does that make you feel?
I hope my voice isn't too annoying to people, because I feel in my head it's really annoying. Like when I hear myself talk,
Yeah.
I think, wow, I'm so annoying.
Oh no, I think it's so much easier to listen to Americans than it is Brits.
Really?
And like listening to myself back, I hate it. So I think it's just one of those things you sort of like, you just don't enjoy listening to your voice.
Yeah,
right?
I guess they always say, right, like you like what you don't have, right? Like
100%.
Like when I hear people talking in a British accent, it sounds really pleasant.
Yeah, even mine, because
Yeah.
I've got like an ugly British accent.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I think it's nice.
What about Reese?
I think it's nice. I think I don't know, like it all sounds the same to me. It all sounds the same. I have to be honest.
So today we're talking all things healthcare communications, which is a market that you work in and have worked in for a very long time. And I think what's so cool about healthcare communications, it's really the bridge between what these amazing pharmaceutical companies do in producing drugs and technology and sort of the masses, and helping sort of like the layman understand what these incredible drugs are really going to do for people. How is it for you sort of working in that market? It must be a really cool and exciting space to work in.
I think it's really cool. I think I don't know, one of the coolest parts about it is just seeing like the actual work that a lot of the places that not only my clients, but also maybe places that I don't necessarily work with. I think just seeing the work that people are doing in this industry is, you can just see it happen like in real life, where like, I don't know, if I see an ad for, I don't know, Dupixent, like I'll see that and know that, oh, like maybe like one of my clients has worked on that, or like I hired someone that works on that account, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think knowing that people will have a direct impact on what a large amount of people see, whether it's a healthcare professional or a consumer sees it, I think is really cool.
Yeah. And how long have you been working in the space?
5 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, almost 5 years. 5 years in a month.
So as we move into 2024, I can't believe we're like almost halfway through the year already. Are there any companies out there who are doing really exciting stuff that you think the people should be aware of? Anything that's like really maybe outside the box or just innovative in a different way?
So yeah, no, I definitely think there are a lot of companies that are, I think, doing really innovative things, just like a lot of them in the ways that they work. Some of them actually I have seen are actually going fully remote. And I've seen, like some places are going in on a hybrid basis more so, but I have seen a lot of other agencies just, kind of be very competitive by having a very fully remote work environment. I have a few clients that are actually doing that and just getting rid of their office space and just hiring anywhere within the US, and I think kind of expanding their own talent pool that way. I know that's probably not going to work for every agency. I think it works a lot better for a lot of the smaller agencies, but that's something that I've seen that's like really innovative. But I think another thing that comes to mind too, just more generally in the way that I have seen like this one specific agency grow is McKinney Health. Like I've seen them grow so much. I know that they were nominated for like up and coming agency for one of the awards. So they went to the Manny's last week, and just like the amount that they have grown is so like crazy to see. An agency, I mean, I know that they've been established in the consumer space, but the way and the speed in which that they've grown the healthcare team specifically has been really impressive to see.
So as someone who's been recruiting into the healthcare communications industry now for 5 years, which is a long time, are there any sort of common issues that you find the companies we work for are coming up against when going through like the recruitment process?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I have seen is the timeline that it takes to hire a candidate. And look, like, I think it's important that a lot of companies are doing their due diligence in order to make sure that they have the talent that is going to be the best fit for them, and also making sure, you know, if from the candidate's perspective, making sure that whatever agency that they're interviewing at is going to be a good fit for them. Otherwise, it's not going to work either way.
Yeah.
But I also do, like, I always advise my clients that it's important to be mindful of candidate timelines, because we are kind of back in a job market where I don't think it's like the way that it was in 2022, back when, you know, you could get someone an offer within 48 hours in some cases, right? But and I don't think that would ever be the reality again, but I do think I have seen things pick up at least a little bit more. And so I think overall, just making sure that like the clients that I'm working with can ensure that they are being mindful of not only their time, but also like the candidate's time too, because if you go through so many different interviews and then the longer the timeline takes to hire someone, I think the greater chance you have of losing out on a really good candidate.
Oh, of course.
And so I think it's important to be more mindful of that. But I think on the flip side too, I can understand with the way that the market has been, a lot of companies I know are just being more considered in the hiring process, because they do want to be mindful as to how, you know, they can grow, right? Because I think in 2022, there was a whole growth spurt of, you know, many different agencies throughout the market where I think they felt the effects of almost overhiring back then. And they felt that in 2023, whereas now I can definitely see a lot of companies just being more growing in a mindful way and being a lot more considered in the hiring process. But I think it's important to strike the right balance between being considered in the hiring process, but also making sure that it can still be quick and efficient as possible.
Yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on this. We actually did a piece on the wider life sciences industry, not just sort of healthcare communications, but the average time to hire in 2023 was 60 days. How does that sound as like a timeline to you?
I believe it for the pharma side. I believe, like, if it's like a big pharma or even a biotech, like any of those companies that are not on the agency side, I completely believe that. I think that makes sense, just naturally, because the timelines over there can be a bit longer. On the agency side, like healthcare communications agencies, whether it's a medcoms agency, a healthcare ad agency, a health PR agency, I don't think that's necessarily been the case. I do think timelines to hire have been a bit extended compared definitely to the way they were in 2022, but I wouldn't say that the processes that I have seen have been taking 60 plus days. Typically, I see them wrap up within a matter of maybe, I think, 3 to 4 weeks.
Right.
Is pretty typical. You know, I would say a standard process now would take at least a couple of weeks, like at least 2 weeks, maybe somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks, 3 to 4 stage interview process typically across at least my client base.
That's really cool. Would you say sort of that move to like fully remote work is something that a lot of people look for nowadays? Is that like...
I would say it's pretty split.
Yeah.
There are some people I have spoken with that are only really looking to do hybrid, like whether it's like 2 or 3 times a week in an office. Some people really love that, and I think there are some companies that are looking at that to be the model that they work on, which I think works really well in some cases. But then there are a lot of smaller agencies that are just doing away with that model, where, like, you know, a lot of candidates who just want fully remote work are more attracted to that. So I think it totally depends. I can't really be specific. I think it's interesting because I think it just depends on what the overall company culture is.
Oh,
I don't think there's a right or a wrong necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
We're moving into the second half of the year now, which again is crazy because it feels like the first half of the year has just flown by. Would you say there are any companies out there right now that are like one to watch? Some, like, keep your eye on them because they're going to do some amazing things.
I feel so. This is one company. They actually have been around for a while, but I was at the Manny's last week and I saw Ken Bagassi, the founder, give a speech, and I do feel that they have been doing a lot of really great things. But I know that they also recently got acquired by Accenture, so I think that's something that's going to go really well for them. And also just like the speech that he gave, it was very from the heart. I know he had his mom there. His wife there, so, you know, just seeing him speak in such an honest way and almost being like vulnerable, and like it's very hard to see that in a lot of leaders. And I think, I mean, he also won Industry Person of the Year, so I definitely think with that kind of leadership, it's definitely going to be a good thing for them.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because we only ever see like faces on LinkedIn or you know, maybe like an ad spot here or there, and actually seeing the human behind that it's such an interesting and really sort of wholesome experience, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, I'd just love to say thank you for your time. I appreciate every time I'm in New York, I feel like I'm always getting you to jump in on camera. You're pretty much the face of the company now, I'd say.
Am I? Oh gosh.
Listen, the amount that I'm on camera, I would snap anyone else being in front of the camera and just doing all my bits and pieces. I always like to leave with sort of, if you had one piece of advice for companies out there right now who are looking for top talent in a market that is readjusting a little bit, what would that piece of advice be? What would you say to them?
So I think the biggest piece of advice that I can offer, and I know a lot of my clients would agree with me too, is when you interview someone and you already know that they're going to be a fit, hire them.
Yeah.
And don't wait for anyone else to snap them up, because I know we are in a very different sort of job market, but I also do understand that you know, some like timelines to hire are a little bit longer, and I think on one hand it is important to be considered, but I think when you have that feeling about, you know, someone's interviewing and you feel like, you know, they're very confident, you're very confident in their skill set, if you know that they can do the job, if you feel they'll be a great cultural fit, and if you feel like, you know, they're going to be a really good fit even after a couple of interviews, I think it makes sense to pull the trigger
right? Yeah.
and not wait around, because I have seen a lot of companies, you know, just lose out on good talent by waiting around and going through multiple interview processes, which, again, I think it's important to go through, you know, a few rounds of interviews, but I think if it does end up being at a point where you'll lose out on a candidate, it may not be the best use of, you know, your time or the candidate's time.
And resources as well.
And
right?
resources
it's
too,
expensive to find talent, and great talent is rare.
Yeah.
If you find someone who ticks all those boxes and just makes sense for you, why wouldn't you?
Especially in a niche market.
100%. Kat, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anything I should do over here while I'm in New York? Is there any like must-do things that I need to tick off my bucket list?
That is a loaded question. What are you into? Like, what do you want to do?
Where should I eat?
What kind of food?
I'll eat anything, honestly.
Anything, but like, what's your favorite kind?
Do you know what? If you could find me the best burger in New York.
Okay, this is going to be really difficult. You have to go on a mission for it. Go to Fort Charles.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get a reservation. It's also very expensive, but I have heard if you try and walk in, you go early, go around like 4 or 5 p.m. Like if you went on Friday at like 4:30 or something like that, see if like they have any cancellations that night, put your name down, and they might be able to seat you. It's not a guarantee. A secret though, that a lot of people know this, but if you're not from here, you won't know this. Au Cheval, downstairs, like from the office, they have almost the same exact burger. And it's owned by the same people.
Amazing.
So you'll have like a very similar experience. It's less bougie, but it's still really good.
I was going to say that's my tonight sorted, but I'm actually taking a few of the boys to go watch the Knicks play.
Okay,
which
fun.
would be really cool,
Yeah.
but it's definitely on my list for tomorrow.
Yeah, go to Au Cheval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next month for another episode of the Effective Podcast. Obviously, you can find us over on our YouTube channel, which will be linked below, or if you're looking for something to listen to on your drive into work or commute into work, you can find us over at Spotify. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.